Okay, guys, so here is the first video here. Well, potentially first of potentially two videos here on how to do these constant motion problems. So if I run out of time on my recording, I will just make a part two. So just be aware that may happen. So I may have to open up another video here. All right, so what we're doing here is we're working through these problems. And these problems are relatively simple. All right. You will need a calculator. All right. So make sure that you have a calculator with you. Um, the equation that we're looking at is when we're solving for speed and or velocity is this equation. All right. So we are looking at this equation here. So S equals distance divided by time. And if you remember, velocity is the same thing as speed. Velocity just has direction. So mathematically it's the same equation. But if someone asks for velocity, we'll just put a direction in as well. And so that's all we'll really have to do. Okay. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be working through this worksheet right here. Okay. And this is going to be your assignment. Now, as I go through this video, I'm going to do example number 1. I am going to come down and do example number 4. And I am going to do example number 7 off of your homework. You will then need to do number 2 and number 3. You will need to do number 5 and number 6. And then you will also do number 8 and number 9. And then these down here, these multiple objects moving, the simultaneous equations, just ignore those. Those were something I did last year for honors. That was completely optional, and you guys don't need to do those. All right. So let's take a look here, and you'll notice that each problem is worth blank points. Well, each problem is worth 3 points. And there are 3 things that I grade. So let's talk about those real quick. So the 3 things that I grade are that 1, you write the equation. 2, you show work by plugging numbers into the equation. So the numbers that you use, you write them down and show me what you did mathematically. And then finally, because I am a teacher, at some point, I want you to get the correct answer. All right, so the correct answer with units. Now, if you look at this, if you just write the equation and show what work you did, you get 2 out of 3 points. That's a 67%, and you haven't gotten the right answer yet. So you can pass and never get the right answer. Okay? So make sure you're following my steps here and things will go well. So let's do an example that I have just written, and then I'm going to do one of the number 1 off of the worksheet that I gave you. Okay, so here's our first example. Was the velocity of a person walking 100 meters north in 12 seconds? All right, so they're looking for velocity. All right, so we're looking for velocity here. That means we'll want to use this equation. All right, you notice it's the same equation. And again, the only difference between velocity and speed is that we're going to just include the direction. And right now they gave us a direction north, so that's what we're going to do. So write the equation, V equals D over T. All right, now just all you need to do is look in the problem for what the distance is and what the time is. So what's the distance? Well, it's 100 meters north. So we're going to put this in 100 meters. And then I'm also going to put in the north. You'll see why here in a second. Divided by the time, which is 12 seconds. And so now it's time for the calculator. And 100 divided by 12. I want to say it's 8 something. So this is, it comes out to be 8.333333333 repeating. Please don't write that down. You can round it to 1 decimal. So just round it to 1 decimal, 8.3. And then our units here would be, the reason I put my units in my work is because you see there, my units are right there for me. I don't have to do any thinking. It's just meters per second. And I also put the direction there. So now I can just put north because it's a velocity. And so circle the answer that you want me to grade, and we're done. Okay? So really, it's not all that difficult, guys. You just get your equation, put the numbers in the appropriate spots in the equation, and then it's just calculator time after that. Okay? So let's do example number 1 together. Now, this one is off of the worksheet. Here it is. Example 1, a jogger runs 48.0 meters in 12.0 seconds. What is his speed? It's the same problem. Okay? So let's run through this one. So what is his speed? So they want speed. We want this equation this time. So write the equation. S equals D over T. All right. What is my distance? That's the how far. That's meters. It'll be 48.0 meters divided by the time is 4 seconds. So 4 seconds. Don't need a calculator for this one. 48 divided by 4 is 12. And then meters over seconds, that would be my units. So those are my units right there, meters per second. And then I'm done. That would get you all 3 points. I've got equation right here. I've got work right here. I've got an answer with units right there. Okay, so that's how you would do example number 2 and example number 3, which are assigned to you. So you'll need to be able to do these two. All right. Now, right now, it might be a really good time to pause the video, do number 2 and 3, and then hit play again when you're done with those two. Or you can watch the whole video in its entirety, and then you'll have to do all the different problems in a row. That's fine. But now I'm going to show you how to do the next problem. So if you want to hit pause, do that now. And then we'll pick it up here in a second. All right, so you notice here it says the equation can be rearranged to solve for distance. So sometimes we want to know distance, not just speed. Okay, so how do we get that? Well, this equation here, and I'm going to go ahead and erase this one. All right. If I were to multiply both sides by time, multiply by time, what ends up happening is the times cancel. And what I'm left with is distance is equal to S times T. All right. So now I can use this equation if they ask for a distance or a how far. So how do you ask that in like words? They would say how far or how long was the race or something like that, right? But it'll ask for, how far did it move? So here's an example that I have all ready to go for that. It says, how far does a car travel in 30 seconds if its speed is 15 meters per second? All right, so this is a distance. So they want a distance. So we need to write the equation. And the equation for distance is S times T equals D, or D equals S times T. So there's my equation. And so now all I've got to do is read this problem and figure out which one's the time and which one's the speed. Well, 30 seconds is obviously the time. 15 meters per second is my speed. And so this will be 15 meters per second times 30 seconds. Now, watch what happens to my units. I have seconds on top of a fraction. I have seconds on the bottom of the fraction. Those cancel, slash die. Meters are left alive. So now it is 15 times 30, which on your calculator should spit out 450. Since I killed the seconds, they're no longer a part of this. The meters are alive. Meters, and those are a unit of distance. So that works out nicely there. All right. Let's do the example from your assignment. So this would be example number 4. An athlete runs for 8.2 meters per second for 12.2 seconds. How long was the race? So how long was the race? So that is, again, they're asking for how far, a distance. So we write the distance equation. S times t equals distance. Now the speed is 8.2 meters per second. Put that there. Times the time, which is 12.2 seconds, right? The seconds, again, cancel because we got some on the bottom of the fraction, and this seconds over here is the same as seconds over 1. That's on top of the fraction, so they cancel. You multiply those out, and I believe, let me check my calculator real quick here, but I believe it comes out to be 100.04. It does. This comes out to be 100.04. My units that are left alive are meters. And so you could say 100.04, or if you're really looking at this, I mean, it asks what race, how long was the race? The race was 100 meters is what it was. So that's what he was doing. Okay. All right. So that is how you solve for distance. The problems that will be assigned that are similar to those two problems that I just did are number 5 and number 6. You will be expected to be able to do both of those. All right. And again, at this point, if you want to hit pause and work through those two, that would be a good idea. And then when you resume, we'll get caught up here on the rest. All right. So it says the equation can be rearranged again to solve for time. This is the third form of the equation. And so the third form of the equation, I'll scroll back up here to the top to show you how we do that. All right. Is if we take this version of the equation, d equals s times t, and then we want to solve for time. All right. So what we'll do is we'll divide each side by s, and what we're left with now is time is equal to distance divided by speed. All right. And so this is our time equation, and this will be to answer questions like how long did it take? Or so there's the first one, like how long does it take? And that's pretty much what you're going to get for these types of problems. You see those words, they're looking for a time. Okay. So if we do this first one, a car traveling 24 meters per second goes 300 meters. How long does it take? So they're looking for time. Write the equation. T equals d over s. Now, what is my distance? My distance is 300 meters. Okay, how do I know that? 300 meters is a distance. So it's 300 meters divided by my speed, 24 meters per second. 24 meters per second. Watch what happens to my units here. This is really nice. I got meters on top. I got meters on the bottom. Slash die, slash die. What's left alive? Just seconds. And seconds are a time, so that works out really nice. Calculator time, 300 divided by 24 ends up being 12.5. And that would be seconds. And so there we go. There is our answer there. Okay. Seconds are left alive. Seconds are a time. That all works. All right. Let's do the one from your worksheet. So the one from your worksheet would be example number 7 here. And let's go through this one real quick. A truck is moving down the highway at 36 meters per second. How long does it take the truck to travel 500 meters? Okay. So again, how long does it take? How long does it take? That's time. So time equals distance